بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
Very powerful thing that exists in companionship, and that is you are who you accompany. You are your company. If you want to know a person, look at the person's company. If you want to know what is the temperament or the character or the demeanor or the likes or the dislikes of somebody, just see who is his company. And now what do people do, right? When you want to check somebody on Facebook, you see who is he following or who is his followers. You see on Twitter, right? Who is he following and who is his followers. It's a simple way of coming to know what is the mentality of a person. So you are going to be known and you are going to be recognized and you are going to be on the path of those who you accompany. And the Prophet ﷺ, he mentions that al-mar'u ala dini khalilihi. Such a powerful thing the Prophet mentions. He says actually your religion is the religion of your friend. He didn't say it's the religion of your parents. Your end result will be whatever your friends are on. And because the friends have such an effect, they have such an influence on a person, that Sayyidina Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions that a person is on the religion and on the way and on the path of his friends. So therefore, فَلْيَنْظُرْ أَحَدُكُمْ مَنْ يُخَالِلْ. Every single one of you should watch out, who does he befriend? Every single type of company has a specific effect. When you sit with ignorant people, you will start acting ignorant. When you sit with racist people, you will start becoming racist. When you sit with the opposite gender, then there's another chemistry that starts getting going, you know. There's another chemistry that starts to, start boiling inside. When a person sits with immature people, you start acting immature. When you sit with intelligent people, you start speaking intelligently. So if a person wants to know, how come I haven't gotten anywhere in my life? There was a person, he was telling me, and he was complaining to me, Shaykh, I don't know, I just don't feel like I got anywhere in my life. I said, really? I said, look at the people around you. Who are the people around you? And he started thinking to myself. I said, are the people around you successful? Are the people around you, prosperous? Are the people around you people that have achieved or accomplished anything? If the people around you are all, dope heads, sorry to put it that way. You don't have to be politically correct even with dope heads nowadays. Right? So if you see that the people around you are like that, then, maybe that's why you're not becoming successful, because that's the type of people that you're around. I was speaking to a young man, and I asked him, how did you change your life? I saw him in the masjid, mashallah. He's in the masjid every single day. Young man, I see his, how he changed his entire life. So he told me, Shaykh, very simple. He said, I changed the people around me, and that's how my life changed. That's it. That's all I did. I just changed the people that I hang out with. He said, there was a time in my life that I was hanging out with people that were clubbing, that were fighting, that were into drugs. He says, drug dealers were my best friends. Pimps were my best friends. And he said, that was the type of thing I was in. I was into that because those are the type of people I was around. You need to fine-tune your company. Fine-tune. Choose wisely the people that you're around. Choose them wisely. Because the Prophet ﷺ said, you will be on their deen. And Imam al-Ghazali, the great scholar of Islam, he mentioned something so beautiful. He mentioned something very beautiful. He said that the heart, it steals. The heart is the thief. Al-qalbu yasriq. Al-qalbu wal-nafsu tasriqu min al-nafs min haythu la tadri. That one nafs, one heart, it actually steals the qualities of another heart the person it's sitting with in such a way that it does not realize. You'll be sitting with a scholar and you'll be picking up his qualities even though you don't realize it. A lot of people sitting here, they said, Shaykh, I come to the gatherings, but I don't even remember the lecture. I don't even remember what you were talking about. I can't memorize the hadith. No problem. Do you remember what you ate yesterday? Or the day before, or the day before that? Maybe you might not remember what you ate 3 days ago. But the effect of the nutrients and the nourishment that you got from that food is still inside your body. It's still giving you the strength that you walk and you talk and you function on a daily basis, isn't it? You don't remember what you ate 3-4 days ago, but the nourishment of that is still in your body. So brothers and sisters, we might not know and we might not remember some of the things that we hear, some of the things that we are exposed to. But remember, there is this nourishment, there is something that you're absorbing in these gatherings. This is that company. This is the benefit of the company, that when you sit with a certain type of people, you absorb the vibes that are in them. You absorb the energy, either negative energy or good energy. People call it vibes, right? We call it ruhaniyah. We call it spirituality, ruhaniyat. And that is the thing that you get from the suhbat of a person. Everybody lets out certain vibes. If a person is a liar, he's a cheater, he's a fraud, you know what? You're going to be sitting with him, you're going to start picking up those qualities. If you sit around people that talk about money all the time, money, paisa jor ko bachesh, filani idhar, kada ukada, just keep getting more money. That's all you're going to start thinking about. Everything in your mind is going to be money. When you sit around people that are talking about politics, everything in your mind is going to be politics. Wallahi, I have heard people that they will not pray in a specific masjid because of politics. Politics in Afghanistan. Siyasat Afghanistan است، در اینجا از مسجد دور خدا نگاه میکنه که در اینجا من قبط نکنه. او بیادر، تو را چی با سیاست؟ You're living in America, bro. Everybody, that's there. Because the people that you're sitting with and what you're exposed to and what you're listening to and what you're seeing, that's affecting your mentality. I'm not going to go to that masjid. That's a Pakistani masjid. Why would a person say that? یک افغان، یک مسلمان چرا این گپا بگوید؟ بعد اون مسجد نمیخونه نماز، از خاطر مسجد پاکستانی است، از خاطر در مغزت سیاست پیچکاری کردگی است. That's why. I'm not going to go to that masjid because that's a Pakistani masjid. What type of statement is that? Are you Muslim? Can I get it quiet in the back, please, inshallah? Kids in the back, can you guys listen? Why would a Muslim say that? You know why a Muslim is saying that? Because his mind is not based on Quran and Sunnah. His perspective is not Quran and Sunnah. His perspective has now become BBC and CNN and Tulu News. اخبار طلوع را هر شب سال میکنم، میگه که پاکستان اینا در ملک معامله کرده، خیلی در امریکا در مسجد پاکستانیا باید نماز نخوانم. Fikr ko, just think about this mentality. If he is passing by, driving by that masjid, he will not pray in that masjid. And what is this? This is a sickness. This is the effect of suhbat. And one of the worst suhbat is the television. Social media, Facebook, Twitter, you name it. Internet. This is a suhbat. We don't realize it. When you turn on the television, and you turn on the news, and you turn on a TV channel, and on that TV channel on the other side, there is a person who is a complete deviant, and he's talking bad about these people, and he's talking bad about those people, and he's talking bad about hadith, and he's talking bad about Quran, and he's talking bad about Muslims, and he's talking bad about scholars. What are you going to do? You're going to start talking bad about hadith. آل افغانای ما متاسفانه اگه گپشان ببینی حدیث دو میزنن، گپشان ببینی قرآن دو میزنن، گپشان ببینی علما را دو میزنن. چرا؟ از خاطر که در صحبت اونمون مردم هستیم، در صحبت مردم دو و دشناب هستیم. And that is the qualities that we are getting. When we watch those people that are cursing the scholars, they are cursing Islam, they are cursing the deen. So when we sit and when we talk, we are just reiterating and we're repeating everything that we heard. It's all being absorbed in our mind and in our ears and in our hearts. And then when we sit with each other, در محفلای خود که میشینیم باز اونمو از زبان ما مبراه، بخواسته ناخواسته از زبان مبراه خود بخود. هیچ سر خود کنترل نداره. Because that's what you're hearing. You have no control. It's automatically flowing from your tongue. The filth, gandagi. Paki ne, gandagi. Maulana Rumi rahmatullah alayhi mentions so beautiful. He says that har ki bashad qut o noor jalal. Har ki bashad qut o noor jalal. Chu nazayad az labash sihr halal. Har ki bashad qut o noor jalal. Chu nazayad az labash sihr halal. He says the one who is always exposing himself to the dhikr of Allah. Listen to this very closely. The one who is always exposing himself. Har ki bashad qut o, ghizaye o. Har kase ke ghizaish noor jalal. Da'i majalis ki mishirim noor jalal ast. Anybody whose nourishment is the light of Allah. He looks at Quran. He sits in the company of the people of Quran. He sits in the gatherings of dhikr. He sits in the company of the people who make dhikr, and so on and so forth. He's keeping himself in a very righteous, positive environment. So Maulana says, the person whose nourishment, he's always feeding himself. You know, what do they call it? News feed. They call it news feed because they keep feeding you and you keep eating it. Whatever they tell you. Whether it's right or wrong, even if it's about hating our own selves. Even if it's about hating your own self, they're feeding you and we're eating it. Right? So that becomes your nourishment. Brothers and sisters, there's two types of nourishment. One is physical nourishment. One is spiritual nourishment. One is ghiza'ul badan and one is ghiza'ul ruh. One is physical nourishment, one is spiritual nourishment. One is you feed the body, the other one is you feed the soul. Why do we have so much hate? Why do we act a certain way? Why are we so angry? Why don't we like this people? Why don't we like those people? What's the reason? What's the matter? It's because of what we are exposing ourselves to on a daily basis. Har ki bashad qut o noor jalal. Chu nazayad az labish sihr halal. In other words, the one who is always exposing himself to the nur of Allah, how can beautiful words, sihr halal, sihr, jadura megan. Sihr jadura megan. Yagon to ke gab mezana fikr mikuni ke jadu mega. Some people when they speak it's like magic. It just affects your heart. So he calls it sihr halal. This is halal magic. Maulana says that the one who is always sitting in the company of righteousness, he's always making dhikr, he's always reading Quran, then when he speaks, it has such an effect on your heart as if he did magic on you. And that is why the Prophet mentions in the hadith of Bukhari, إِنَّ لَمِنَ الْبَيَانِ لَسِحْرًا. إِنَّ مِنَ الْبَيَانِ لَسِحْرًا. That indeed, in bayan and in lecture, and in some people's speech, there is just some magical, captivating effect. What is that captivating effect? Why do they have that ability? Maulana says, is because of that person is always nourishing himself with nur. Har ki bashad qut o noor jalal, chu nazayad az labish sihr halal. How can then good words not come from his mouth? When a person is always filling himself with good, then that is what is going to come out. And when a person is filling himself with evil and dirt, that is what is going to come out. Al-ina'u yatarashshahu bima fihi. Al-ina' yatarashshahu bima fihi. A utensil will only pour forth what is inside of it. This bottle has water in it. When I'm going to pour out this water, what's going to come out? Juice is not going to come out. Wine is not going to come out. Milk is not going to come out. Water is going to come out. Because a utensil, a bottle, pours out its contents. Similarly, whatever you put in your heart, whatever you put inside this, that is what is going to come out. If you put nur in this heart, if you put light in this heart, if you put positive in this heart, if you put love in this heart, if you put mercy in this heart, if you put compassion in this heart, if you put knowledge in this heart, if you put wisdom in this heart, then that is what's going to come out. But what do we put? This is the thing, brothers and sisters, that I want everybody to be focused on. This is my point. what is it that we are putting inside our hearts? Do we know? This is not what we are careful about. This is why Maulana says another thing. How can I help myself? Maulana, he's the king of examples. He has all the most beautiful examples. He says, Chishim bandu, gosh bandu, lab band, gar nabini noor haq bar man bikhand. Chishim bandu, gosh bandu, lab band, gar nabini noor haq bar man bikhand. Close your eyes from evil. Don't look at the things that are evil. There was a friend of mine, young friend. He was watching plane crashes on YouTube. Alo bande khuda, why are you watching plane crashes? Shootouts. Warning, this is a shootout. He's watching shootouts where people getting shot. He's watching stabbings, shootouts, fights, brawls, plane crash, car crash. Alo bande khuda, why you have to see that? Is that something good? Is that something positive? Because the eyes, the ears, the tongue, these are all the gateways to the heart. You're exposing yourself to those negativities. Would you like to be in a plane crash? No, so don't watch it. Brothers and sisters, there's this nafsani, internal, right, instinctive, animalistic, devilish desire that we have, that we like to see violence or evil or something. But in reality, it's very harmful. Yes, an intelligent person will say, oh, come on, Shaykh, I just know it's a movie, man. I just know it's just like a YouTube video. Yeah, but then the biggest harm in that is that it makes you desensitized. It makes you desensitized. It desensitizes you. It makes you insensitive towards that reality. It makes you careless towards that type of thing. And then when it really happens in real life, like, wait a minute, this wasn't like the movies? No, it wasn't like the movies. Because this ain't the movies, this is real life. Brothers and sisters, in this time and age, we have to be extremely careful of what we let our eyes, our ears, our tongues, our hearts absorb. Literally, in this society, when you go outside, to guard your faith, to guard your positivity, to guard yourself morally, it's become so difficult. And why it's become so difficult? Because these negativities that we are exposed to and the things that we always see, it's become trivial. It's just like another movie. And the movies are getting more and more violent. Why are the movies getting more and more violent? The movies are getting more and more violent because it's not so fun anymore, that you just have tip-tap karate, type of things. No, there has to be like real blood and gore. Somebody's brain's getting blown up, Something really cool. Give me the real stuff. What is this? This is not even enjoyable. This is not fun. Why is that? Why are we becoming like that? It's made it such that we've become so exposed to this negativity that if we hear a real person, 15,000 children in Syria, they were killed. Or, 1 million people in Syria are homeless. And they don't have, they're muhajir, they're immigrants, they've lost their homes. That doesn't have an effect on us. That doesn't hit us. We don't see it as a crisis. We don't feel bad about it. What's the reason that we don't feel bad about it? It's because we're desensitized. We've seen so much negativity that our hearts are not affected anymore by that. This is the thing. We have to limit ourselves, brothers and sisters. Not only limit ourselves, try to discipline ourselves as much as possible to stay away from all of these things that are negative. Not to expose yourself, not to expose your children, not to expose, What's real is real. What's reality is reality. But don't unnecessarily expose yourself to things that are evil. Another example is pornography. Something has become so common in our day and age that it's on every single phone. It's on every single, it's almost in every single house. It's affecting every single person. And now what are we hearing? We're hearing this. You never hear these things before. That at this school, this teacher slept with this many students. Haven't you been hearing this? This is like, you're hearing this almost every other week, almost every other month, that this teacher did this with this student, and the students are minors. How can that be? This never existed before. It never existed before, yes, but how is it happening? Why? How can we ask, how is it happening? Because that's one of the genre of pornography. That's one of the genres of pornography. That's one of the things that they show. That's one of the themes. And people are just enacting what they're seeing. They've become that. They've become their suhbat. They've become their company. They're sitting in the company of that movie, of that shameless pornographic flick. They're watching that for 15, 20, half hour, 1 hour, however many times in a day, and now it's become second nature. Then you are not at ease until you go and you enact that. Just recently, I hate to speak about these things, brothers and sisters, but I have to. These are things that are happening in the Muslim community. These are things that are happening around us. If we, shove this under the carpet or don't speak about it, this is a big khiyana. This is a injustice. A man, he molested a 6, 7-year-old child, 7-year-old girl. Tied her up and he molested her. And what was when he was in front of the judge, what did he say? He said that, this is what I did, and I did it because I'm addicted to pornography. And this is what made me do this. He's clearly, openly saying it. And people are still arguing that it's not harmful. Pornography is not harmful at all. No. There's no harm in it. Absolutely there is harm in it. Brothers and sisters, if I were to give one advice, my dear youngsters, if I were to give one advice, do not go near this. Do not go near this. It destroys your life. It destroys your next life. It destroys your this life. It destroys your marriages. It destroys families. It destroys your sense of reality. A young child in a Walmart. A shameless man passing by, taking off the diaper of that child in the middle of the aisle, trying to molest the child. How can that happen? How does a child become an object of lust? How? It becomes an object of lust through all of these things that are seen with the eyes. Allah Azza wa Jal mentions in the Quran, يَعْلَمُ خَائِنَةَ الْأَعْيُنِ وَمَا تُخْفِي الصُّدُورِ. Allah knows the treachery of the eyes and that which the hearts conceal. These hearts can conceal extreme amount of evil. If the eyes are not, the eyes allow it to enter, and then the heart absorbs it. And then the heart builds it. And then the heart it develops it. The heart generates it and encourages it. Brothers and sisters, there is nothing that we should be more careful about in this day and age than pornography. This is like sitting in the company of shamelessness, bihayai, negativity, for 15, 20, 30 minutes of la'nat you're allowing that should go into your eyes and then become embedded in your heart. And then what happened? It doesn't end there. It pushes you to go to the next level. And it pushes you to go to the next level and the next level and the next level until it makes you completely worse than the devil. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. Allah Ta'ala says that, O humankind, we have made you and we have molded you in the best of molds with the highest pinnacle of akhlaq and character and with the greatest potential to even surpass the angels. لَقَدْ خَلَقْنَا الْإِنسَانَ فِي أَحْسَنِ تَقْوِيمٍ. We created human beings in the best of molds with the potential to even surpass the angels. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ. But then when he did not use that potential, of righteousness and piety, and he didn't discipline himself, and he didn't guard himself, what happens? ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَاهُ. Then Allah Ta'ala will make him return أَسْفَلَ سَافِلِينَ, become lower than the lowest, lower than even the devils. The devil won't even do that. The devil will even stay away from that. That thing that a person does when he becomes the lowest of the low. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made us and given us the potential to surpass the angels. And how can that be? Is it true? Yes. Otherwise Allah would have not commanded Adam to prostrate to, would have not commanded the angels to prostrate to Adam. Allah commanded, وَإِذْ قُلْنَا لِلْمَلَائِكَةِ اسْجُدُوا لِآدَمَ Usjudu li Adam. Allah commanded the angels to prostrate to Adam. Why? Because in Adam there was the potential of surpassing even the angels. And we are the children of Adam. Allah has put that potential inside of us to surpass them. But when we don't, and we don't use those potentials, and when we don't guard ourselves from that evil company, and that company could be in the mode of television, internet, social media, or human beings. If you want to know who you are, whether you're 20 years old, 30 years old, 40 years old, 50, at any age that you are, if you want to see who you are the combination of all of the company that you have had till this time. Whose company have you been? Whose influence have you been under? Whose supervision have you been under? Whose suhbat have you benefited from? You are your company. If you want to see who is Tameem right now, this person who is sitting in front of you, Tameem Ahmadi, this person who is sitting in front of you, who is he? He is the combination of all the company that he has achieved and he has been with in the 37, 38 years of his life. This is who I am. If you want to know who you are the combination and the conglomeration of all of the company that you have acquired throughout your entire life. Even if it might be meeting one person and making musafaha with him, and you meet that person and say, subhanallah, it changed my life. Don't we say that? We just see one person, we said, subhanallah, I met that person and wallahi, it just changed my entire life. That is also company. That is company. That is how the life of a person can change. That is how you can become influenced. So brothers and sisters, the person we are going to be talking about, I don't know if we're going to get to this person. Person? This was just the introduction. Now the example of this, one example of suhbat. One example of suhbat and company. You are your company. My Shaykh, rahmatullah alayh, he used to say, why does Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala call the Sahaba, Sahaba? Sahaba are the companions. The companions are the ones regarding whom Allah ta'ala mentions, radiyallahu anhum wa radu an. Allah is pleased with them and they're pleased with Allah. Can you imagine how Allah gave them this maqam? How did they get this maqam? By reading a lot of books? By studying a lot of, lectures and reading a lot of articles? By having a lot of knowledge? By being very pious and praying a lot? What made the Sahaba radiallahu anhum special? What made the Sahaba special that the people, the generation right after them did not have? They had the suhbah and the companionship of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. That's it. Ibn Hajar Asqalani rahimahullah mentions, is the definition of a Sahabi is man ra'a nabiyyan wa mata ala iman. That's it. Man ra'a nabiyyan wa mata ala iman. The one who saw the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam and died upon iman. That is a Sahabi. Even looking, from this we understand that by looking you can get suhbah. You can get company. So my Shaykh said, he said that Sahaba are called Sahaba. They could have called been Kitabiyun or Hawariyun or Muttaqun. But Allah Ta'ala calls them ashab, sahaba. Why are they called sahaba? Is because they became sahaba through suhbat. So that we understand that till the day of judgment, we come to know that deen and Islam is attained by sitting in company. Na kitabon se, na waazon se, na zar se paida. Deen hota hai buzurgon ki nazar se paida. Na kitabon se, na waazon se, na zar se paida. Deen hota hai buzurgon ki nazar se paida. Neither through books, neither through lectures, neither through money can a person attain the deen. This way of life. You can't get the way of life by just studying books. You can get knowledge and you can get information without a doubt. But where does deen come from? In that muqaddamah of Sahih Muslim, Muhammad ibn Sirin, rahimahullah, who was a tabi'i and the student of Abdullah ibn Abbas, he says something very interesting. He says that إِنَّ هَذَا الْعِلْمَ دِينٌ إِنَّ هَذَا الْعِلْمَ دِينٌ فَلْيَنْظُرُوا عَمَّنْ تَأْخُذُونَ دِينَكُمْ. Indeed, this knowledge is deen. This knowledge is your deen. This knowledge is your way of life, is your religion. So therefore you should be watchful. Who are you taking your deen from? This person that I'm taking my deen from. From this we understand. فَانْظُرُوا عَمَّنْ تَأْخُذُونَ دِينَكُمْ. فَانْظُرُوا. Be watchful. عَمَّنْ تَأْخُذُونَ دِينَكُمْ. From whom you acquire your deen. It didn't say from which book. It says from the individual, from the person. Deen is acquired from people. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, اهدنا الصراط المستقيم. Oh Allah, guide us on the straight path. What did He say? He didn't say, صراط القرآن والحديث. He says, صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم. Oh Allah, guide us on the straight path. What is the straight path? The path of those people that you have guided. من النبيين والصديقين والشهداء والصالحين. They are the منعم عليهم. They are the صراط المستقيم. The prophets, the siddiqs, the righteous people, and the martyrs. These are the people who demonstrate the straight path. That is where you get the straight path. Because people study Quran and Hadith on their own, and they come to the result, and they come to the final result, and the final conclusion, oh, I don't believe in Hadith anymore. Where did Hadith get you? You must get Hadith from somebody who studied Hadith. It's like a person taking medicine. You got to take medicine from the doctors. You don't take medicine on your own. You read a book and then you start prescribing for yourself. It's going to kill you. And that's what's happening to the ummah. This is Bukhari, I'm reading Bukhari. I've seen people read Bukhari, become murtad. Read Bukhari, become mulhid. And then if you say, oh, then there's something wrong with Bukhari, then there's nothing wrong with Bukhari. Then there's something wrong with the medical books. There's something wrong with medicine if it's killing people. No, there's nothing wrong with the medicine. People are taking it wrong. People are not getting supervision and advice from that. They're not getting their medicine from a doctor. You need to get your religion from a doctor of religion. You need to get hadith from the doctor of hadith. Just like you get medicine from the doctor of medicine, you must get hadith from the doctor of hadith. We're getting hadith from the doctor of mechanics. From the doctor of the one who's changing tires, we're asking him about Sahih Bukhari. Oh Zalim, does that make sense? What are you, this doesn't make sense. This is illogical. There's a mechanic, there's a person, he has, his stomach is hurting. He goes to the mechanic, tell me, could you give me something? My stomach is really hurting. You got an oil change? Maybe I can take care of. Why are you asking those questions and why are you discussing these matters with people that they couldn't understand what is the difference between Bukhari or Muslim? Bukhari, shahad yakon mein Bukhari ra roshan ko bisa khonakum girafta. Bukhari in Farsi means heater. Bukhari ra roshan ko, I'm really cold. He doesn't know what is Bukhari. Muslim, oh, I'm a Muslim, you see? You believe in me, why are you following Muslim? I'm Muslim, I'm a Muslim. Sahih Muslim. Ana Sahih, Ana Muslim. Abu Dawood, who's father of David? Abu Dawood. Ajib. Subhanallah. Brothers and sisters, but you know, when we were studying hadith, we had to study 6 years of Arabic language, tafsir, Arabic language, nahu, sarf, tafsir, usul, principles, you know, the aqidah, theology, all of these things. And then finally, when we study all of these preliminaries, then in the final year we study hadith. In the final year we study hadith. There's a reason why they have put in a program, in a sharia program, they've put the hadith in the final year. They've put tafsir and hadith in the final year. How come they didn't put it in the first year? Brother, Quran and hadith is important. Yeah, knowing the language is also important, what you're reading. What you're reading is also important, right? It's like a kid who's in preschool, I want my son to be doctor. I want my son to be doctor. Here, take the medical book right now. He said, let me learn ABC first. No, but you have to be a doctor. Medicine is very important. Yeah, medicine is important, but dad, let me learn my, 1 + 1 is 2. People haven't learned 1 + 1 is 2 and they want to read the medical books. So brothers and sisters, these are very important things, and this has a lot to do with suhbat. It has a lot to do with our company. It's very, very important for us to see which company that we are sitting with. I'm hearing Muslims, they complain about hadith. They're doubtful about their religion. They're doubtful about it. So why is this? It's because we are not sitting in the company of scholars. We're sitting in the company of ignorant people. We're sitting in the company of doubters. We're sitting in the company of rejectors. We're sitting in the company of haters. Sit in the company of scholars and Allah Ta'ala will give you the nur of ilm, the light of knowledge and scholarship. Sit in the company of the righteous and Allah Ta'ala will give you righteousness. Sit in the company of people with akhlaq and Allah will give you akhlaq, character. Sit in the company of people who have shuja'at and who are brave and who have himmat. Allah will give you himmat. Sit in the company of people who have himmat. People who have courage. When you sit with people who have courage, you will have courage. When you sit with people that are cowards, you will become a coward. One person is advising another person. One coward is telling another coward, oh, don't go to the masjid. Ami kasa ke masjid mein na FBI o namu pushte o namu na migira. Fikret basha. Oh, kata beghairat mishi ni beghairat mishi. Chi megem mo kata chi mishi siyah mishi. Kata deg mishi siyah mishi kom ba moshi moshawi. You can ask all of it from Haji Sahib right here. He knows all the whole list. MashaAllah. Kata ma bishini ma mishi, kata deg bishini siyah mishi. Jazakallah. You see? If you sit in good company, right, you become good. You sit under the moon and you start becoming bright. And if you sit with the dirty pots, you're going to get dirty. Deg ne? Dega. Is that a good translation? Some things you shouldn't translate. But brothers and sisters, this is company. And in the example of company, just one story I wanted to mention, one incident by Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiyallahu anhu was a young man. And he was a shepherd for some of the elders of Quraysh. One of those elders is known as Uqba ibn Abi Mu'ayt, who was one of the enemies of Islam. And he had heard some news about a person by the name of Muhammad, and there's a lot of commotion about him. But he was a young man. He was always in the outskirts, taking care of the sheep of the Sadat and the nobles of Quraysh. He didn't have time to worry about all the politics and the stuff that's going on. He's just a young kid. But one day what happened is he saw two men coming from the valley. And their faces were covered. And they looked that they were, in extreme difficulty. And they came to this young man. And they said, give us one of your sheep. So when the young man looked at them, they looked very thirsty, and their lips were extremely dried, and their lips were cracked actually because they hadn't had anything to drink. And they looked like they were in a very severe state. But the young man, he knew that this is something that is against trustworthiness of his work that he's doing. He's a simple caretaker and he's a shepherd. So they said, give us one of your sheep. He said, these sheep are not mine to give. I'm a caretaker of these sheep, and these sheep actually belong to somebody else. So I'm very sorry, I apologize. You can't have any. But the two men, they weren't disappointed by his reply. They were very happy that the young man, he said this. So then they said, would you allow me to just see one of them? I'm not going to take it. I'm just going to see it. So they said, sure. So one of the men, he approached one of the sheep, one of the female sheep, and he put his hand on its udder, and he started reciting something. And the young boy, he saw this man rubbing the udder of the sheep and reciting something, saying something and moving his lips. And he saw in front of his eyes that the udders of this sheep started to swell up with milk before his eyes. And it was such a sheep that did not have any milk. A complete skinny, sickly looking sheep he picked. And as he was rubbing the udders of this sheep, the udders started filling up with milk. And when it filled up with milk, he took a utensil and he filled this utensil with milk. He drank some of it and he gave some to his friend. And he also gave some to the boy. And in this whole situation, this boy is just in shock, seeing this whole situation. Then, this man, he went back to the sheep and he started to recite some things, just as he did in the beginning. And the udders, they started going down until it came back to normal. And then he returned the sheep, he said, this is yours. I think this belongs to you. Then, عند ذلك قلت للرجل المبارك, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, he says, I said to the blessed man, after I saw this miracle, علمني من هذا القول الذي قلته. Teach me these words that you said. What are these words? What are these things that you said? What are these words that you uttered? I want to learn this. So then the Mubarak and blessed man said to him, إِنَّكَ غُلَامٌ مُعَلَّمٌ. You will be a taught boy. You will be a trained boy. Insha'Allah, إِنَّكَ غُلَامٌ مُعَلَّمٌ. If you don't know Arabic, it's very difficult to translate. إِنَّكَ غُلَامٌ مُعَلَّمٌ. You have been taught. You are a boy that has been taught. In other words, consider it done. In other words, the Prophet ﷺ, who was that man, and the other one who was Abu Bakr Siddiq, those two men, one of them was the Prophet ﷺ and the other one was Abu Bakr Siddiq. He said, the Prophet said to him, إِنَّكَ غُلَامٌ مُعَلَّمٌ. You have been accepted. You have been taught. In other words, it is done. The Prophet ﷺ, the messenger accepted him for his companionship. And from that day on, that boy did not leave the Prophet's company till the day he died. And it mentions, and as it mentions, it says that this boy, he became عرض نفسه على رسول الله ليخدمه فوضعه الرسول صلوات الله عليه في خدمته ومنذ ذلك اليوم انتقل الغلام المحظوظ Abdullah ibn Mas'ud من رعاية الغنم إلى خدمة سيد الخلق والأمم. He says from that day on, he presented himself. He said, O Messenger of Allah, I want to be in your company. I accept Islam and I want to be in your company. From that day on, he never left the company of the Messenger. And Allah Ta'ala took him from being in the company of goats to being in the company of the Messenger of Allah. What was the quality of a person who was continuously, look at just one example. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was very complacent. He was a kid. He didn't care about anything in the world. All he cared about was just to take care of goats all day. Be a shepherd, get his money, live his life, and continue on. This kind of very secluded life. A life that when he heard about the messenger, he did not even care. But the moment that his life changed was not the moment that he was with the goats and the sheep. Just like the goats and sheep, look at this, is a very important point. Goats and sheep, what do they think about all day? I don't think they're thinking about anything other than grass. That's all they think about. Grass and water. When you're sitting in their company, and I'm not talking about those people that are farmers or those people that this is their business, that's a different matter. I'm talking about somebody who makes that his goal and his all and every purpose of life and objective, and that's it. Abdullah ibn Mas'ud was a young man, he had no objective. He had no goal, he had no purpose. Why? Because he was in the company of those that their purpose is just one thing. That's it, eating grass and drinking water. And that had become his purpose. Until he saw and he experienced the company of someone. And this is the thing, brothers and sisters. We have to keep ourselves in the company of righteous people. Because they are the ones that will take us out of our, shepherd type mentality. Is this the reason why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created us? That we wake up in the morning, 9 in the morning, and then we go to work, and then we come back at 5 o'clock, and then after 5, then we watch some TV, and then we eat dinner, and then we go to sleep, and then after that, we wake up at 8 again in the next, and then we go and work to 5, we come back home, and then we eat dinner, and then we watch TV, and then we go to bed again, and then we do the same thing. Is this the reason, the purpose of creation? This is what Allah Ta'ala brought you in this world for. That's it. Then in actuality, we are no different than that shepherd. We don't care about all these things that happen. Oh, there is something of Islam. There is something of Allah. There is something of worship of God. There is something of Muhammad. There is something of Sunnah. There is something of ilm. There is something of akhlaq. There is something of ruhaniyah and spirituality and good character and rising to another level, becoming a better person day by day. How can I better myself? Brothers and sisters, understand this, that if your today was not better than your yesterday, then you did not benefit this day. This day went to waste. If your today was not better than yesterday, then you wasted this day. Somebody might say, well, what can I do if I have to work? There's no problem. Do your work. Go to your school. But have a program. It could be weekly. It could be bi-weekly. It could be monthly. But whatever you do, have a program for yourself where you're learning, where you're rising, where you're prospering, where you're doing more, you're learning more. And this is the very important thing, brothers and sisters. The way that you save yourself from ignorance and from destruction in this life and the hereafter, connect yourselves to ilm and connect yourselves to ulama. Connect yourselves to knowledge and connect yourselves to scholars. Wallahi, this is the key to success. Stay away from evil company. Guard yourself. Fine-tune your company. If you want to become something, go and sit with the people that have that. Very simple. It's very simple. And look at it from a worldly perspective. If a person wants to be a doctor, he has to go in the place where there's medicine and doctors, and this is the research center. He has to do his internship. He has to go to college. He has to do a lot of things. He has to be in the environment of academia. If you want to be a hafiz, you have to be in the company of a person who is a teacher of Quran. If you want to be an alim, you have to be in the company of ulama. If you want to be a righteous person, you have to sit in the company of righteous people. This is my message today, brothers and sisters. Fine-tune your company. And don't ask ever this question, why I haven't gotten anywhere in my life? You haven't gotten anywhere in your life? First and foremost, before you ask this question, look at your company. Who are the people around you? When you look at the people around you, then you will know the answer to your question. How come I am where I am? I am where I am, number one, because of the decisions that I've made in my life, And number two, because of the company that I've kept in my life. Wallahi, your life will change when you change your company. May Allah Ta'ala give us the understanding, and may Allah give us the tawfiq. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Subhanallah bihamdihi, subhanakallah bihamdika. Nashhadu an la ilaha illa anta nastaghfiruka wa natubu ilayk. Inshallah, we have a program coming up. I believe it's the weekend of the 7th, 8th, and 9th. 6th, 7th, 8th. 6th, 7th, and 8th, which is next week, right? It's not next week? The week after. And Shaykh Hashim, who is an American scholar, he studied in Al Qura University in Makkah Mukarramah.